We're going to call the October 16th Zoning Board of Appeals meeting to order. Thank you, Katie, for our new gavel. Very exciting. First on the agenda, 154, 156 Northborough Road. Come on up.
See you guys quite often.
So you need an extension.
Yes.
Can you give some background as to what you've done and why you need an extension?
So I guess there was some confusion as to when the permit actually was going to expire. We obviously got an opinion from your side, and then our zoning attorney had just said, I guess, in the absence of something definitively saying when something expires, it technically would be a year, which obviously, so I just to be safe, I just figured it made sense to request the extension as opposed to something coming up later and then have.
I understand. Why haven't you been able to move forward in the time frame?
So a big part of the delay had been a title issue. So we had the property under agreement subject to permitting to build the project. And I didn't realize, but an LLC owned the property, and the manager of the LLC was two other LLCs. And one of the LLCs was, I guess the president was a guy named Duddy Masad, who I didn't realize was even involved in the property, and he had passed away. And so it was essentially a title issue that hung us up for like 8 months or more because we weren't even able to close on the property.
Okay.
Was there an action to quiet title, and was that resolved? Conveyance passed?
We did purchase the property probably last month. So our attorney handled that. I assume whatever needed to be done was done.
Got it.
But yeah, in the meantime, like I said, the party had passed away, and then his daughter, who was next in line, just wouldn't respond. And so there was issue between the two parties on the other side, which we weren't involved with, but I guess my attorney, wouldn't let us go forward without something from the other party.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, I'm aware of who the owners and the past owners were and all that, so I fully understand
Not surprised at all.
that. Not surprised at all. So doesn't even. I'm following you.
Yeah.
Debbie?
I think I saw you at Conservation Committee. I was an audience member one night, and I was just wondering if you can just take a second and just update us with what that discussion was about.
Which
Were you at Conservation recently?
for an extension,
For an
probably.
extension, okay.
Yeah, and there wasn't really any conversation, right?
I can't remember that, to be honest, so it was
Yeah.
probably an extension.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you redid the variance, right? The variance you redid
Yeah.
because it had expired.
Yeah, that was the only one that expired. Everything else, and I didn't realize that I thought we had just got a special permit from the planning board. I didn't realize we'd got one from the ZBA as well. Otherwise, I would have tried to have coordinated them both at the same time.
Yeah. But at that time, you had mentioned the change in some of the layout based on his previous Conservation Commission stuff. So, any comments from the audience? Peter, you really want to say something about this one? Okay. Move to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on this matter.
Second?
All in favor?
Yep.
Okay. Anybody see any issue in why we wouldn't do this?
No.
I didn't. Okay. Move to grant a one-year extension to,
You can do it.
do we have a special, do we have a number?
Mr.
To
Chair,
the-
I'd like to make a motion to extend the petitioner's request for approval for 1 year.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Just love these meetings.
I know.
So
So we've got
10 minutes. to
8
kill.
minutes before we can start Peter's hearing. Shall we review the minutes?
Yeah,
That would be fantastic.
let's knock it out. Is this from the last meeting that
This is the one you missed.
this is the one I missed? I apologize profusely. I did run into Andrew at the Heritage Day. And, he's missing us.
Ah. Not enough to become an alternate and like show up on a day like today, apparently.
Apparently.
Andrew, if you're listening tonight, that's a pretty hollow missing of us.
Yeah.
If you are watching, find another hobby.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Anybody have comments on this?
Nope.
All right,
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting
as written.
as written, very eloquently written.
I'll second.
In favor? Abstaining?
Abstaining.
5-minute recess?
Do we want to discuss our next meeting?
We can. Do we have anything for our next meeting?
So we do have 2 applicants. Both of them are looking for the same relief. They're looking to demo a non-conforming structure and rebuild it. Both of them are pending on a new certified plot plan. So they have to November 1st to submit that. Otherwise, they're either going to be continued or they might withdraw. So I'll keep you posted.
Okay. And that is scheduled for, we changed it, right?
Yeah, November 13th.
November 13th.
And then when do we have we have a special day coming up?
Yes, November 2nd, 9 a.m. right here.
I'm so sorry that I will be missing that, being out in California for a few days.
You could just leave it as you're not going to be here.
Yeah,
You
yeah, don't have to rub salt in that open wound.
Along the coast, looking at the ocean.
What time was that again?
9 a.m.
So you could get up early and watch, like we get a televising and watch on.
Yeah, you guys
You
could
can
like
get watch it
live
at
stream it for
6,
me,
right?
so I can wake up at 6 a.m. and watch. I'm gonna decline,
Okay.
but thank you for the offer. So November 13th and November 2nd. And that's as far as we go. No, December 18th is officially the, kind of the placeholder for December, the 18th,
December.
December.
Oh, yeah, it's way too in advance, sure.
It's the placeholder, just keep that
Okay.
in mind. Somewhere in the back of your head, if someone says, hey, let's go do something the night of the 18th of December, you should say no.
Yeah.
Anything
And
else?
as usual, on the 13th of November, there'll be like 7 o'clock.
7
again.
o'clock, 2 potential things, and then we'll review our minutes from this evening.
Okay.
and see if there's anything coming through for December.
Do we have any applicants, just so you know, I will be out of state on the 13th.
We have two that are,
Maybe.
those two are maybes.
But just, I like to keep it consistent as well, but I just know that I'm away, that week.
Okay.
I somewhat recall from last month that the others, that I think the 13th seemed to work for
It
them,
seemed,
so
yeah, the
we would still
13th
have
worked for
a-
the other four.
for we'd have a quorum then.
Any interest from anyone on alternates?
Not that I've heard.
Okay. I'm gonna start pushing that.
Yeah. Peter, do you know anyone who wants to be one of our alternates?
Sorry, I don't.
Would you like to be an
Family
alternate?
members?
Yeah.
No, he's got too much business in town. He could never be on a board.
Many conflicts.
Yeah. Okay. Does anybody's watch say 7:15?
No. That would be wrong.
Waiting for the pot to boil.
Yeah. I'm sure this is scintillating TV for the people watching at home.
Oh,
Surprised they're not just rushing down here to be part of it.
They're just sitting there. Not that I suggest that, but I
Oh, boy.
was texting a friend of mine, Larry, know that we didn't have a lot on the agenda tonight, and it shouldn't be too controversial. And she thought that we could spice it up by doing interpretive dances of what's on the agenda. So I'm going to pass on that, but if anyone else would like to take up that cause.
No.
I too will. Interpretive dance is not,
No,
it's not a gift.
any dance really isn't a gift for me.
If you see me dancing, it's not good.
Just a couple more minutes.
Do we always keep it on a set time schedule like this?
So we generally try to keep, this one we probably could have listed a little quicker for new things. We generally just give the 15-minute spread because
Just
we
because,
can't start it before the time, and we figure, you know, you don't want to have them sitting here too early for people that are concerned. It's not like we do 5-minute intervals on everything on the agenda, because the fourth thing on the agenda might really not be heard, and that would be rude.
Did you do
So-
it differently on your other boards?
No, so Grafton did the same time slot, and again, it's smaller towns.
Yep.
Newport, for example, it's that thing goes and it's instantaneous, it's next.
So they don't put the next matter at 15 minutes?
No,
They
so
just
if you have a
inter,
matter, you could be there all night long.
Yeah.
We had some,
No
so
time.
everybody needs
Problems
to
with-
show up because their matter could be coming up?
Absolutely, and
That's
if you, in Newport, I mean, they do 50 to 60 cases a month. And so,
Jeez.
Because everything requires a variance.
everything in Newport's pre-existing non-conforming.
Yeah.
So you can't get a building permit for anything without ZBA approval, so.
Well, look at that, it's 7:15.
Yeah, we had some
You're
problems with when Park Central was going on, and if it was, you know, extended from the month before, there's nothing on the agenda yet, so then they're first on the
First.
agenda, then some other things would come in. Well, that was gonna be like a 2-3 hour meeting, and then there'd be like someone looking for, like, you know,
Looking for an
like
extension of a
an
special
extension of a,
permit.
you know, extension of something that was, you know, gonna, you know, and they'd be like, same thing, would be sitting there for, you know.
So Rhode Island will say, we're doing this first, we're knocking it out if they have like a big.
Yeah.
But
I think we actually ended up
we can
having
get
it.
by with it.
Yep.
We got-
Okay. 7:15, next thing on our agenda is a request for a one-year extension of a special permit for 2 East Main Street.
Good evening, Peter Bemis, Engineer and Design Consultant. So it was October 31st when you recorded your approval for 2 East Main Street. In that approval, the zoning board allowed all of the permitted uses because in order to have a multiple use at a facility, it requires a zoning board's opinion on that. and you folks granted all of those permitted uses in the bylaw. Subsequent to that, I did renew my soil absorption permit with the Board of Health. I renewed my conservation permit with the Conservation Commission. I also filed my site plan with the Planning Board, as well as a special permit for a Village Business District. The Planning Board process went on for all summer, finished up in the fall, about 4 months. I got a permit for my site plan. The vote was 3-2. The board members seemed confused in what they were granting, but they did approve it. Had a separate meeting to discuss that approval, and they essentially denied the special permit for the Village Business District. Unfortunately, the concern I have is that I took the most benign use that was available in the available uses that you granted approval for, which was office, 100% of the building, one use. I actually have one company that's Southborough-based. They're residents of Southborough that wish to be here. I met with them today. They seem to continue with that quest, but may be waning a little bit. So I won't know a final decision until the end of the month. But I definitely want to preserve my permit from this board because, as I said to the planning board, this was, I thought, the easiest project to say yes to, and I'll be back. Because ultimately, I have to go before the board. So I have three, I look at it as I have 3 votes in favor. I have to get one more vote to come along, because I need to have that no matter what with the planning board. And we do intend to appeal the planning board's denial. They based it basically on the fact that they thought the project was too large. The project in our district is an FAR of 0.5 and a 3-story building. And we went in with an FAR of 0.33, and we went in with a 2.5-story building. So I'm not sure why scale all of a sudden was being judged to be too strong, particularly when, if you looked at the historic buildings, which I showed you folks and I showed them, pretty much that entire corner going all the way back down Newton Street was a building back in the day. Just happened to be that it was gone by the time any of us came here. But our forefathers thought it was wise to have a building of that scale and scope at that corner. So I'm hopeful that I can find one more town father here to say yes, or town mother, so to speak.
Yep.
So I'm hopeful that you would support a 1-year extension for the approval. I don't want to have to go through that process again with your board. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Bemis?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. No one's in the audience still, so we're gonna close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And anybody have an issue with granting this extension?
I don't.
No?
Oh, I think Steph's trying.
Yeah, okay.
I'll make a motion to grant the petitioner a 1-year extension of special permit to East Main Street.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Thank you very much.
Aye.
Greatly appreciate it.
Good luck, Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was saving the last motion for me.
Oh, yeah, that's
It's
your
my
favorite.
specialty.
And
That's your favorite.
with that, we have completed our agenda for the night. So if someone would like to say,
I'd like to make a motion to close tonight's meeting.
Second.
all in favor? Aye. We're done. Thank you.